Yo, this is Codi Smith. Check out my exclusive interview on Palm.
Baby, the baby, you about to up and change me, to change me. I love the way you do me, so give it to me, baby, my baby. Thug me out, 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 thug me out.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing good. Glad to see you. Glad you can make it through. So, tell me, let's knock out the basics first. And I know you grew up in Missouri, but what part?
I actually was born in Florida, and then I moved to Missouri when I was 8, and I lived in St. Louis. So it was very city-like. Like I don't really know much about the rest of Missouri, but St. Louis was cool. And then I left at 18.
Really? Okay. So, growing up, tell me what it was for you like as a kid.
Yeah, growing up, I had kind of a inconsistent upbringing, I would say. It was just kind of a lot. And I made the conscious decision when I was 8 to live with my mom for more stability. And after that, it was cool. I just had that always that feeling of not belonging. So I was always searching for fulfillment. So I would do a lot of theater. I was a theater kid. And I was a band geek. I was in marching band, jazz band, and I was in choir. And that was kind of my way of escaping. I guess I've always had this thing for fantasy and escaping reality. So yeah, I was I would say I was a artistic kind of kid.
Nice, I see it. What instruments did you play in the band?
I played the baritone. It's a small tuba, so it wasn't glamorous or anything, but it was pretty dope. Not many people played it, so I always stood out.
I'm glad you said that because I wouldn't know what the hell a baritone is. I've heard the name so many times. I'm like, what is that thing?
Yeah, I was a baritone and I sang baritone in choir, so,
For sure. What was the first music you fell in love with?
Well, this is gonna be embarrassing, but Hilary Duff Metamorphosis. That was my first CD, and I was just she was just everything. I was wow, this girl on TV, and she makes music too. I was just a stan. So, yeah.
Nice. That's how it started. Yeah, I know. In one video, you called yourself a Disney Channel princess.
Disney Channel, I was a Disney Channel, all the shit. Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, I would eat that shit up.
For sure. Yeah, us 90s babies, we're all about all that. Literally
all that.
Pun intended.
Amanda Show.
For sure. So, growing up, when did you first realize you were gay, and how did your family respond to that?
I guess technically I knew when I was 5. And then my family, well, it's kind of a long story, but my mom specifically had to find out when I was 19. I was put in a weird situation where I was kind of forced to tell her. I didn't even lose my virginity till 19, so I knew I was gay, but I wasn't doing things, so I wasn't comfortable talking about it. I definitely claimed I'm gay, but I still was not doing anything, so I didn't view myself as a sexual person or even attractive, so it wasn't something that I would talk about a lot. And so my immediate family is cool. As for, I honestly don't have a big family, so I just have my mom, my little sister, and my stepdad, really, that are my close family. And my little sister, we're 10 years apart, and she's all about gay activism, and she doesn't eat at Chick-fil-A, and she's really about it. So the younger generation for sure is way more just chill about it, I guess, and way more active.
Yeah, I think now that we've grown up in a time where it's more socially acceptable and more politically correct to, shun homophobia,
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing. But as a young black man growing up, you're facing racism and
Yeah.
homophobia. So
Yeah.
can you tell me how that was for you?
Yo, so racism, so growing up for me, it was always the homophobia. It was never really racism per se because my school was considered the most culturally diverse in the Midwest. So we had blacks, whites, Indians, all different kinds of Asian, Korean, Japanese. Like, we were pretty diverse, so we weren't throwing out racial slurs. It just wasn't a thing. And then I was 18 when the Trayvon Martin thing happened, and it was kind of like, it was definitely unsettling, but at the same time, my naive mind thought like, this is the only time something like this would ever happen, because the impact that it had. And then it wasn't until I left Missouri and I started working, and I don't know, growing up, I thought we all had the same deck of cards, and clearly, when you get into the real world, that's not true. I would have never thought when I was younger that I wouldn't get a job because I'm black, or I wouldn't get an opportunity because I'm black. So when you're literally applying for these jobs and you're interviewing up against, people who are white, I would have never thought that being black is something that would ever hinder me. So it was very hard for me to cope with that. And then when Mike Brown happened, that was in St. Louis. Florissant is in St. Louis. So then I got to the realization that, no, this stuff has always happened, and I was just blind to it. Like, maybe it wasn't getting media coverage, so I just it didn't click. So I felt very dumb, not dumb, but I guess naive. And then, being gay, black in the gay community, that's a whole nother conversation. That's like, I could go on and on. It's a lot. And then it's not just being black and gay in the gay community, but there's also colorism. So there's a lot of different branches to it.
I feel you, man. Would you say music has been like one of your coping mechanisms to get through what's going on in the world?
Yeah, I mean, music is a coping mechanism for not even just what's going on in the world, but I have this thing of like wanting to fulfill a fantasy in my head. So it's my coping mechanism of just like feeling like life is bigger than what it really is, if that makes sense.
Like, life is bigger than what it really is.
Yeah, it makes me feel like there's more than just the reality is very humdrum and very kind of depressing. But music and everything in general, when it comes to the arts, acting, all of that kind of makes you feel like there's just more to it, than just kind of a humdrum, boring life.
Right. So one of the things when I watched like recent happenings, I noticed, you're very charismatic, and I know that kind of comes from the acting background.
Yeah.
Tell me like how with some of your videos and stuff you use a lot of choreography. Like, how is that, like, putting that together and finding the backup dancers? Like, what's that process like?
I just started that this year. When I did the Thug Me Out video 2 years ago, and the two backup dancers they're literally my best friends. We didn't have choreo, we didn't have a choreographer. We were just blacked out pretty much. We didn't know what we were doing. We were just like having fun, and we were just like, all right, let's all just do this. And the beauty of editing, you can make something look better than what it is. If you guys saw the real footage, you would be like, y'all are a damn mess. But yeah, my two dancers came to me this year, and I met them through a friend, and she choreographed. It started out with just performing Thug Me Out, and then I went on my first tour this year, and we had choreography to a lot of songs. So that was my first time doing that much choreography and learning it in such a short period of time, and it was very, very hard. Not just the choreography, but just the rehearsals and going to my 9 to 5 and then rehearsing, and then some people can't show up, and it was very, very hard, but in the end, it was definitely fulfilling. I mean, the tour was the best. That was the highlight of my whole existence.
Dope. I like it. So one of the Instagram questions was, how was the experience touring? Can you talk a little about that?
The actual experience touring was amazing. Everything leading up to it wasn't. I mean, there's so many things that went wrong. And even when I was touring, everything kind of went wrong. But it also kind of helped me assimilate. So my mic went out every single night. Every single night it went out, or there was something wrong, or the stage setup was different than a way that we're used to, so we have to dance different. And in a way, it was kind of cool because it makes you kind of like think fast on your feet and figure shit out when it goes wrong. And the show must go on. Like, they really meant that shit. Like, when they invented it, like, it really does go on. But everything leading up to it was awful. That pink outfit that you guys saw, that was made 2 hours before the first show.
Damn.
Yeah, like literally 2 hours. Like, literally made 2 hours, got home, got my stuff, and went to the first show. Like, it was a lot.
Who designs all your costumes?
So Brandy's mom did the pants, and Alexa's mom, my friend Alexa, her mom did the top.
Okay.
So, yeah. Sewed it, whipped it up 2 hours before. I had a whole other costume that went wrong, so I had nothing to wear. And
Brandy's the homegirl, right? You're not talking about like Moesha.
No, yeah, Brandy. I know. I always talk about people as if they know who they are already. Brandy's one of my dancers. Yeah.
Right. I feel you. Okay. So talk about favorite producers. Who do you like in the game, and who would you like to work with? And who are you currently working with?
I've always, a lot of my beats were made by a guy called Ev. He used to be called YE, and all those songs, he's amazing. Like, all those songs, like, they sound like hits because the beat sounds like a hit, if that makes sense. Like, it could go any which way. So he, like, Thug Me Out is one of my biggest songs, and so I'm very appreciative. That beat was actually a very old beat. That was a 2014 old beat, and it still sounds like it still hits today. I've always wanted to work with a producer called Danger. He did Britney Spears' Blackout album. If I could work with Danger, like, it's Blackout today still slaps. I don't care what anybody says. That's like one of her best albums. And technically it was like her first like #2 album. I don't care. It slaps. Like, Danger is... Oh, and Max Martin. I would love to work with Max Martin. He's like an icon. He was worked with everybody for the past like 2 decades. So probably more than that. So definitely Max Martin too.
Nice. Okay. Now, you talk a lot about, like, blacked out, and you say emotionally blacked out. Like, tell me, what does that mean?
Blacked out, honestly, it just means, like, spaced out. So not, like, physically, when I say blacked out, some people think I mean drunk. But it just means, like, spaced out. But I do use a lot of terms, like, depression naps, and... I sing about depression a lot and being blacked out because it applies. So,
but it's never off of like drugs or alcohol or anything.
No.
It's all like mentally or emotionally.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't drink or smoke.
That's dope. I admire that. I wish I was the same way. Okay, so one of your biggest songs is "Only Nigga," and I feel like that's really dope because you're unapologetic of who you are. And you could have like gone the safe route and called it "Addicted to Love," but you didn't. So like, tell me, what was it like, you know, writing and recording that one?
Writing that one, it started off as a joke with a friend, and I had that chorus for a long time. And it wasn't until I made my Manifesting Miracles EP that I actually took it seriously. And it's definitely a very meaningful song because I don't know if it's an LA thing or if it's just a generational thing, but men have a tendency to act like without you, their ear'll be nothing. And sometimes you gotta let him know he ain't the only nigga. But I will say, I will never put nigga in a song title ever again because I've had white friends say it to me. And I'm like, I don't know if, like, maybe it was my fault because it is the song title. So I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't think I would ever do something like that again. I guess I didn't think about it when I did it, but yeah.
I feel that it is kind of a slippery slope. I mean,
Yeah.
early on in my, showbiz career, when I was first doing comedy at age 14, I was on stage telling a joke in class. I took a comedy class to start out, and then I said nigga in the act, and then my dad walked in. I haven't actually told nobody this story, but my dad walked in and said, you know what, you're good, but like watch when you say that word because people will think they can use it with you when they can't.
Yeah, they definitely will, especially with music, because they'll be like, it was in the song. It's the name of the song.
Yeah, I feel like that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
It's so much, man.
Yeah.
Okay. So talk a little about your vlog series, Recent Happenings, because I was just so impressed. Like, bro had his own reality show. Like,
wow, thank you.
And
I
I know it
really
was from
appreciate that.
yeah, no doubt. I know it was from a couple years ago, but like,
Yeah.
speak on how those were made and the process of like shooting, writing it, producing it, editing it.
Yeah, so Recent Happenings was something that started off when I was actually 16. 16? Yeah. 16 years old. I used to take my camera everywhere. It was kind of like a defense mechanism. I would go to parties and I'm just like, I don't relate to these people, but I would just like make videos, and put them together and just, and then Recent Happening 7 is the one that took off. They fucked up my friend's house on New Year's. They fucked her shit up. They broke the garage. So it became kind of like a cultural thing at my school. Like everyone wanted to know what the next Recent Happenings was going to be. They wanted to know what was happening at the parties. They wanted to know if they weren't invited to the party or didn't make it to the party. They wanted to know what happened, all the drama. Like I actually almost got suspended. That's a different conversation.
And is this pre-Instagram and Snapchat? Like, people wouldn't watch the stories from the night before?
Yeah, okay. I would. This was 2000, 10, 11, 12. Like, this was... And I would put it on Facebook. And I would try to hide it, because we're underage drinking. We're doing a lot of stuff that we're not supposed to be doing that our parents shouldn't be watching. But honestly, some teachers would find it and see it, and I would get acclaim. It was messy. And so I decided to bring it back when I was 22. And I kind of wanted to show people what I was doing. Everyone always wanted to know, like, I see you are in music, blah, blah, blah. I want to know what's going on. So I kind of created a new format to the show. I would start it off with a skit to kind of, start off light. And then everything you saw was shot on an iPhone. Like, I love that. Yeah, it was an iPhone 6 back then. So I was inspired by a movie called Tangerine, and they shot the movie on an iPhone 5. So I was like, oh, if they can shoot a movie on an iPhone 5, I can shoot my little show on an iPhone 6. And I would edit the hell out of it. And people would ask me, is it real? The only thing that was like fake were the skits. Everything was real. And a lot of the stuff, some of them I can't look at because it's like I don't want to relive, especially the last one I made. I don't want to relive any of that. So, but I really appreciate you saying that because I will put a lot of effort into making those.
No doubt, bro. I see you. Queen of Pop Productions. What is that?
Another thing that kind of started off as a joke. So, like, you know how, like, gay stans are like, fuck me up, queen, and, like, so we would just joke all the time, like, fuck me up, queen of pop, and, like, we would just, queen of pop just kind of stuck, and so, I was just like, I'm gonna make my production company Queen of Pop Productions, and then I'm gonna make my record label Queen of Pop Records. You know, it just kind of stuck.
Interesting. I like how it's spelled.
Yeah,
It's like very original.
that's how the gays spell it.
Had no idea. Okay. All right, so you got 2 projects out, Dynamics and then Manifesting Miracles. How did you grow in between those 2 bodies of work?
Yeah, Dynamic was more of like I'm trying this out. I don't know what I'm doing, and none of these beats I own. So I didn't know shit really. I've had 2 songs out before then, and they were kind of like very fast experiences. I didn't know anything about the mixing. I didn't know anything about the terms wet, dry. I didn't know really anything. So when it came to making Dynamic, and thank God for Gilberto, he's my engineer. I've been working with him for both projects, and between the 2, I don't even listen to Dynamic. I don't even claim Dynamic anymore. Like, there's so many things wrong with it. I'm just like, I can't listen to this. But Manifesting Miracles, that was the one where I had songs produced from scratch. Like, I would sit there on GarageBand, and I don't know how to play piano, so I would either hum the melody and sing over it, or I would do like little things with my hands or whatever, and then I would take it to Gilberto, and I'll be like, can you make something out of this? And we would pick the synths, we would pick it was a lot that went into it, and there's a lot of different incarnations. The Only Nigga got me feeling like feels like such a simple song, but that has 10 masters of just like, if you heard the beginning of it, you would be like, it sounds nothing like the end product. But I would say the journey of Manifesting Miracles was a lot bigger, and it was a lot more effort, and it was a lot more knowledge that I had.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's all a growth process, whether you like your first, entry or not. It's always gives you a base, like, look how far I've come.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure. So let's take some IG questions. So Juvenile Boy asked, what is the most rewarding part of being an artist?
I think the most rewarding part is, for me, performing. It is so exhilarating, the adrenaline and the energy exchange that you get back. There is no prouder moment. Even if everything goes wrong, even if I mess up, there's nothing more fulfilling than that. And having people say, like, I can relate to your song. That's a big, it's crazy how I can look at like my Apple Music statistics, and it's crazy how you can reach people that in countries that you've never been to, and in cities you've never been to, and my song Waiting For is big in like Australia and Tokyo and like places that I've never been to. I think that's pretty rewarding that it could reach people like that.
Yeah, it is. It's the power of the internet.
Yeah.
So they also wanted to know about your songwriting process.
My songwriting process comes usually in 2 ways. I usually start off with a beat and then work with that, or I start off with the song title and play off of that. It's definitely easier when you start off with the song title. For some reason, when I have a song title, that's like everything comes from there. The melodies, everything comes from that. But the best melodies I've ever made comes from when I'm just walking. I walk home from work. I walk all the time. And there's something about walking, I guess, because you're focused on walking and then you're creating at the same time. It's a very, you're not thinking about it too hard. And so my favorite melodies, I think, come from walking, and I put everything in my voice memos. So those 3 ways: song titles, and everything I do, I start off with GarageBand. It's a lot cheaper to make a demo on GarageBand and then to go in and record it and just know everything you're about to do than to like sit there in the studio and figure out what you're gonna do. It's just like a lot of time.
Right, you demo it before, so it's like a rough draft.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. One more. Now.jpg wanted to know, which song did you have the most fun writing, recording, and creating in general?
I would say Fuckboy, my first real song. I'm in love with the Fuckboy.
That video was so funny.
Yeah, definitely. It's between Fuckboy and Thug Me Out. Because Thug Me Out, it was another thing that started off as a joke. And there's a thing in music where thug sounds like fuck.
Yeah, they're both 4-letter words.
Yeah, thug sounds like fuck. Like, love it when you thug me, baby. Or, there's a couple songs where I hear and they say thug, and if you hear it really fast, it sounds like fuck. So it's just like, and I just thought it would be fun to play with that. And yeah, it was very fun. It came very fast, like very immediate, like maybe 15 minutes. So that was also another fun one.
Nice, okay. Then they want to know new music on the way because they're dying for some more hits.
Right now I'm just testing. I'm kind of figuring out the direction that I want to go in. Because I'm writing stuff and it's either going to be very, very pop, very, very bubblegum pop, or more the lines of Waiting For, where it's more kind of subdued and kind of chill and kind of more modern. So I don't know, I'm figuring it out. I'm playing around with EP titles, mixtape titles, whatever I decide to do. There's something about creating a title as well for a whole project that helps me make something that's cohesive. So when I came up with the idea of Manifesting Miracles, that was before I even made the song Manifesting Miracles, and then everything just kind of flowed from there. So I'm just figuring it out, but definitely this year, hopefully the first half of the year. 2020.
Sick, okay. And this is just me talking. Are there any, like, queer artists, like musicians that you look up to?
Queer artists or musicians that I look up to? If they are, they're very underground. I don't know any that are really, really out, I guess. Yeah, I don't really know many queer artists like that are publicly out. I mean, I guess there's like Frank Ocean, but I listen to him.
I mean, I was kind of wondering if you like admire like Frank or Kevin Abstract or Tyler the Creator, like people who, you know, came out as gay and still continue to like put out amazing music.
Yeah, I definitely listen to them. I would say I'm definitely different than them though, and I feel like I'm different. The things that they stand for and the things that I kind of stand for are a little different. And but I would definitely say my biggest queer, like my queer family. I perform at an event called Queer as Punk. Pussy Tuesday, they're amazing. They're a cool rock band. I would say more so like the underground people in the community that I listen to, and they're all very, very, they're very supportive as well. So definitely the underground.
Dope. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to putting me on some of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope some of them are watching now. Oh, one more thing. I know you through my friend Celestia, who's been featured on Palm and played at our first festival, Wave, this summer. So she's got a little project coming out called Shine, which is a digital magazine. Can you speak on that and how you put out a single with them?
Yes. So, yeah, I'm so happy to be a part of that project because it's a artist collective project. So I felt really kind of good about submitting a song to that. And it kind of puts the pressure of like off of me of like I have to come up with this like concept of like a whole body of work. It was like just a single, and I worked with Dijor. You guys need to check him out. He's a gay rapper. Oh, going back to queer artist, Dijor, I fuck with him. Dijor, he's one of the best rappers out right now. I don't care what anybody says. He can fucking spit, and he can spit fast. He sent me his stuff very, very fast, and I put the demo to grind in out on my SoundCloud just because I was like, I'm not using this, and I don't know, I just put it out. I was just like, fuck it, and he wanted to be a part of it, and it just so happened that the project came at the same time, so we worked together, and I was so happy about it, and I submitted it, and I'm really happy about it, and I'm happy that we got to work together and for this project, because there's so many amazing artists on there, and there's so many passionate artists on there, and not even just like singers. There's like people that create art and producers, and it's a big collective. So I was happy that I was asked, especially because I never met her before. I just met her through Instagram, so I felt very honored that she fucked with me enough to ask me, and she's been very supportive, especially with my single Waiting For. So I really appreciate her.
Yeah, she is really supportive. Definitely, like, literally the first person I heard, like, championing your music and, like, came up like, yo, you need to check out my boy Codi Smith. And,
I love her. I really appreciate that so much.
Yeah. Shout out to you, C. Okay, Codi, we're going to play a game called Rapid Fire. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Favorite food?
Twizzlers. I don't know why I said that. Mac and cheese.
Favorite drink?
Sweet tea.
Favorite time of day?
Sunset.
Favorite Hillary Duff song?
This is so hard. My initial thought was So Yesterday. Then, Coming Clean.
Is that Let the Rain
Yeah.
All right. Favorite movie?
Kill Bill.
Best thing about LA?
The food.
Worst thing about LA?
Traffic and hype beasts.
Best thing about Missouri?
Nothing.
Worst thing about Missouri?
Everything.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I see myself successful in a penthouse in New York.
Nice. You trade coasts?
I would.
Really?
I definitely would, yeah.
Right. Have you performed in New York?
No, I haven't. I've only been to New York actually twice. So maybe I should visit there a little more often before I start saying I'm about to live there.
Like you said, manifest it.
Yeah.
Okay. Why should people care about Codi Smith?
People should care about Codi Smith because I feel like there's not many artists like Codi Smith. And I don't think that I don't think you have to listen to my songs to fuck with me. I definitely understand that my songs are kind of not, they're very bubblegum, they're very kind of not what's it in right now, I would say. But I think the acknowledgement of like me doing what I'm doing with like little to no help and funding everything my own, I think that acknowledgement would mean more than like someone saying they fuck with me, you know?
Right. All right, Codi. Well, thank you so much for your time. Let them know where they can follow you and stream your music at. Amazing.
So I'm on every music platform in the internet stratosphere. I am on every social media platform. My Instagram is Codi Smith, CODISMITH, and my Twitter is the Codi Smith because Codi Smith was taken. And that's it.
That's it.
Thank you so much for
having me. The way you do me, so give it to me, baby, my baby. Thug me out, thug me out, thug me out, thug me out, thug me out.